Hey guys, in today's video we're going to be checking out the brand new Precision RBS rubber band system guns. We're going to be looking at two of them, two different ones. The one is the EOS, which is the smaller little hand pistol, and then we're going to have a larger look at the larger one, the Proteus. Both of them include rubber bands. This one here has number 8 20mm rubber bands. You get a total of 100 bands with the gun. This one here you get a number 8 20mm and a number 16 60mm rubber bands. This one includes 20 bands. It is under the Precision RBS Precision Rubber Band System, and of course, I'm sure I don't have to say this, but I'll obviously say it for reasons that make sense. Do not aim at eyes or face. I can also add on to that. Do not be aiming this at your animals, your pets, little Brewster and Chuck. Little Sally named the dog, but don't aim it at Chuck or Brewster. Don't aim it at the children next door. Just aim it at targets. That's one thing I would stress. It's recommended for ages 8 and up. It's the most accurate when used with the recommended sizes. So you might want to use them specifically with the sizes that they're included with. There's a back, and it shows you the other ones available. There's Talus, EOS, Charon, and Hyperion. Precision rubber band. To check out more, make sure you head over to www.precisionrbs.com. I'm going to get these opened up, and we're going to have a look at the Proteus and the EOS rubber band system. So here's the contents that you get included with each of the guns. For starters, you obviously get the gun itself. Here's your trigger. Here's your loading station. I'll show you how all this works in a second. And your targeting scope. Also serves as a good shield too. It includes its ammunition, a whole series of rubber bands. I do like also the fact that Super Impulse colored their bands by sizes. You'll see the differencing when you look at the Proteus rubber bands, that the longer ones are yellow, but it still uses the shorter ones as the EOS, but they're the same color. So you already know which rubber bands to use with which guns. You get also an instruction guide showing you how to load and any safety precautions you should take when using the Precision rubber band system. Instructions are fairly straightforward. It also gives you a rubber band size chart down below. Okay. And then the Proteus is basically the same idea, just a larger gun here. You get your collection of 2 rubber bands, 2 sizes rubber bands, I should say. Of course, you get your instruction guide the same way as the EOS. But what's neat about the Proteus is it also gives you some targets as well. You got 100 points, 50 points, and 25 points that you can, of course, distance, varying distances from one another for a points chart. The EOS unfortunately doesn't come with any sort of targets, but you could probably just mark a target somewhere and use that as your sight or what you're aiming towards. Again, don't fire this at an animal. Don't fire this at any other kids or anything like that. But I will also say too, when you're finished firing these, make sure you go around the house and just kind of pick these up if you're firing them indoors. The last thing you want to do is find little Fluffy gnawing away at an elastic band, because you might end up having to go to the vet to get that removed. It's a bad, nasty thing. So looking at the EOS first, I love the neon green coloring that they gave it with some nice offsetting green, orange colors for the trigger and of course the loading area. You can see when you hit the trigger, the back portion here comes back, and that will assist to fire off the elastic bands. Down here is you have a loading station where you can take some of your extra rubber bands. So if you're going out somewhere, you can fill up a whole bunch of extra ammunition that you can then make use of later on, and you just pull those off as you need them. To load this one, it's really easy. You're just going to bring this back, take your elastic band, and it says use both fingers. They also say too that you really should try to wash your rubber bands with soap and dry them off to give a little extra elasticity to the elastic. Nonetheless, you're going to take the elastic and you're going to pull it back, and what you want to do is you want to pull it to the furthest notch. So see what I did here? I took the elastic, I started here, pulled it all the way across, and I tabbed it here. It can fire up to 6 shots, and then to proceed with the remaining shots, you can either use 1, or then you can fire multiple shots. So maybe what I'll do is I'll show you how 1 works. I'm going to bring this up here, and Again, you've got your little scope that you can sight out your target. Let's see if we can actually, I'm going to put one of the 50s down from the Proteus. I'm going to see if I can actually get the bullseye, or at least, at the very least, get 50 points. So we're going to aim it, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press the trigger here, and it'll fire the elastic. Let's see if we can actually hit this. Wish me luck. Here we go. I think I missed it. I think I actually missed it, which is pretty sad, actually, on my part. To show you how to fire multiples, what you're going to do is the exact same thing as we did before. Bring the shield down while you're loading, and then make sure you bring that back up. Take your elastic with both fingers. It will seem very tight and very taut as you're pulling it. Take the next elastic, do the exact same thing. Bring it back now to the second notch. And I find it actually helps just to kind of hold the elastic here as you're then loading the other ones. And see what I'm doing here? I'm starting from the end, and then I'm working my way inward. Proceed as what you've just done. Just continue to load the elastics. And it's a little harder, actually, I have to admit, getting them to the next slot. A lot of times you might find yourself, what I just did there, slotting it to the same slot as the one I just did. And that is, yeah, got that so far. Make sure, of course, you don't fire the trigger while you're doing this. You can keep loading. So you got the next one. And we got one more. One more. Slot that into place. And now your ammunition is ready. Bring up the scope once again for the sense of targeting and to protect yourself. Let's see if we can actually hit that target. We should. We've got multiple. And what it will do is it will continue to fire. So watch. Actually, let me see if I can do it. I'll do it this way. And I granted will understand that it's going to go over here. And it's not going to hit the target. But I'm going to fire it this way so you guys can see how it works. So pressing it once, it fires the first elastic, then the next one. And depending on how hard you squeeze it, I squeezed that one a little harder. You saw that fired multiples and fired the last one. And all of it relies on this part coming backwards and hitting the little notch here, and it's basically pushing the elastic off the notch, and it fires itself off. It's pretty clever and pretty basic of a nature the way it was built, that there's really not a lot of mechanical things you got to worry about going wrong. It's really just this part that's moving back and forth. Might I also say too, the grip as well as just the comfortable nature of it, it actually feels quite nice in my hand. And I'd like to think that I've got a more adult-sized hand. Some people would disagree, but a more adult-sized hand than children. So there is the EOS. Next, we're going to look at the Proteus. And it's basically the same sort of nature as the EOS. Its loading is going to be a little bit different. It does have, let me see if I can grab a couple of these elastics. The longer ones are already kind of raveled up and tied off to one another using another elastic. I'm just going to take these off first. There we go. And making a bit of a mess in the process. That's okay. That's okay. I'll go back and clean that up. So you've got two areas to load your ammunition. The longer ones fit underneath here, like so. And you just can continue to fill that as many as you really want to take, as many as that would actually fit as well. And then there's a second one that loads the smaller elastic bands there. And then they're always there when you need them. To load it, let's start with the smaller one. What we're going to do is, if you look at the two, let me see if I'll bring this down here. The Proteus, basically from this point to this point, is the same size as the EOS. So you can see where it started here at the 20 millimeter, it's going to end at the same point. So you're stretching it here of the smaller blue elastics. You're going to take it, stretch, 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 stretch. Oops, try not to fire it off in the process. Luckily I've got some extras. Stretch, 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 stretch. And then you want to get over the trigger here and you want to hear a click. That's very important. When you pull it across, once you get to the end, don't stop there. Oh, no, don't stop there. Push it down as well and make sure it clicks in place. And you can see that it now holds the elastic. Once again, bring up your scope. And let's see if we can actually hit this target this time around. Going once again for the 50 here. Wish me luck. Here we go. Here we go. Yes! 50 points for this guy. If you want to talk a little bit more heavier firepower, you can then go with the longer elastic. It's pretty much the exact same idea. What you're doing, however, though, is instead of stretching it from here to here, you're stretching it from here to here because it's a longer band. And you might actually even find yourself having a more of an ease doing it this way with the longer elastics. But what I'm doing too is I'm going to put my thumb here so that it caught the elastic as I'm stretching it across. Stretch it over to the end trigger and make sure you hear that lock sound. That lock sound is very important. Bring this up once again. Move our elastic out of the way here. Move this out of the way. And let's see if we can hit ourselves the 50. Now I find it actually a little easier not to look through the scope, but instead look to like kind of the side and line it up this way. Let's see if we can hit ourselves the 50 using the longer band. Wish me luck. Here we go. Oop. There we go. And fired it. Another 50 points for this guy. That actually makes itself out to be 100 points minus the 25 points at the beginning because I didn't hit the target. So that works out to be about 75 points. That's how my targeting math adds itself all up there. I do like these quite a bit. You know, when I was younger, let me just kind of show you what I did when I was younger, and I'm sure many kids did this as well. This is how we fired elastics when I was, you know, back in the Stone Age, as they say. I would wrap it around my finger, wrap it around here. Not that I should be showing you guys how to do this, but pinch it with your pinky, wrap it around your front. And these are probably not the best elastics to be doing this, but this is how back in the day, which was a Wednesday, by the way, this is how we fired elastic bands. And then to fire it, I'm basically just releasing this pinky finger here. And that's how we would fire elastics. This is kind of taking that same element and of course making it a little cooler than just firing it with your finger. I like the color. It's nice neon green. And who doesn't, of course, love firing elastic bands? As much fun as I'm having, again, I will say this, I'm going to go back, I'm going to clean up all the little elastics that I've dropped all over the place. The last thing I want is my cats to start chewing away at those elastics. So I would say, when you're finished playing with these, make sure you kind of go around. Don't let mom and dad have to do it. Go around and pick up your elastic bands when you're finished. But really, fun elastic band guns. I don't think I've seen any others on the market that do, well, firing elastic bands. You know, you have two of them. You can get the larger ones that we've looked at on the back of the package, and you can have some fun with friends. Outside, obviously, would probably be the safer route because there's a lot less things you can knock over and hit. Outside, of course, you're probably also going to be losing the elastics. That inside probably makes a little bit more sense, but I will say this again. If you're firing it inside, make sure you're cleaning up those elastics when you're done. Today, once again, though, we were having a look at the brand new, this was the Precision RBS. That would be the Precision Rubber Band System. By the way, this came to us also from the folks over at Super Impulse. Right down there, Super Impulse Toys. If you guys like this video and certainly want to see more videos just like this, and you haven't had a chance to subscribe to this channel, pew, 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 make sure you hit that little subscribe button down below. You won't miss a beat when it comes to future videos. Pew, 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 pew. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.